My name is Vivian Cole, and I still remember the exact moment my late husband's daughter looked me in the eyes after the funeral and said, "You manipulated a dying man." After 31 years of marriage, after chemotherapy appointments, after feeding her father through a straw when cancer destroyed his throat, after sleeping beside hospital beds for months, suddenly, I was no longer his wife. I was the woman they believed stole their inheritance. Before I tell you how my husband's children turned against me after his death and nearly destroyed my life, make sure you subscribe. Because grief mixed with money creates a kind of ugliness most families never recover from. I met Richard Cole when I was 34 years old. He was recently divorced with 3 children. Successful, brilliant, emotionally guarded. At first his children liked me, or at least tolerated me. I helped with homework, soccer practice, college applications, birthdays, family vacations. For years, I genuinely believed we became a blended family successfully. Then Richard became wealthy. Very wealthy. His technology consulting company exploded nationally during the late 90s. Suddenly, there were vacation homes, investments, private accounts, millions. And slowly, the family dynamic changed. Not immediately, subtly. Money always changes rooms slowly before people notice the temperature rising. Richard's children became increasingly entitled. Requests grew larger. Cars, down payments, business loans, luxury weddings. And Richard gave constantly. Because guilt followed him after the divorce. I saw it clearly. He believed money repaired emotional distance. It doesn't. It usually deepens it. Still, despite everything, we remained relatively close. Until Richard got sick. Pancreatic cancer. Aggressive. Cruel. Fast within months, our lives became hospitals, specialists, treatments, and fear. During that time, I became his full-time caregiver. I handled medications, insurance, appointments, feeding tubes, everything. Meanwhile, his children visited inconsistently, sometimes lovingly, sometimes resentfully, but always emotionally complicated. Then came the estate conversations. Richard insisted repeatedly, "You sacrificed your life caring for me. I need to protect you." I told him repeatedly not to worry about inheritance. I meant it. But Richard was stubborn, very stubborn. 3 months before his death, he updated everything. Trusts, property structures, investment distributions. And yes, he left the majority to me. Not because he didn't love his children, because he no longer trusted their financial judgment, something they never understood. Richard died on a cold January morning while holding my hand. And honestly, part of me died with him. But grief barely had time to settle before accusations began. At first it was subtle. Coldness, distance, awkward silences. Then came direct hostility. His oldest daughter, Rebecca, started questioning timelines, legal meetings, medication schedules. Then finally, after the funeral reception, she cornered me privately. "You manipulated him," she whispered. I physically froze. "You isolated Dad when he was vulnerable." The cruelty of those accusations stunned me, especially because I spent years helping raise her. Over the following weeks, things became vicious. Richard's children demanded estate audits, questioned competency, suggested undue influence, and eventually threatened litigation. Litigation against the woman who spent months cleaning their father's vomit during chemotherapy. That realization nearly destroyed me emotionally. Then came social humiliation. Extended relatives stopped calling. Friends acted strangely. Apparently, narratives were spreading that I married Richard for money, that I strategically positioned myself, that I controlled him during illness. People love dramatic stories more than uncomfortable truths. And the uncomfortable truth was simple. Richard's children expected wealth they didn't receive. That expectation became resentment. Thankfully, Richard prepared carefully. Medical evaluations, attorney witnesses, recorded estate meetings, everything documented thoroughly. Still, the emotional damage was brutal. One afternoon, Rebecca screamed at me during mediation. "You stole our father." No cancer stole their father. But grief always searches desperately for human targets. And I became theirs. The legal fight lasted nearly a year. During discovery, uncomfortable truth surfaced about the children too. Excessive spending, financial dependency, repeated bailout history. Richard's private journals even revealed his fears. One entry read, I worry money has weakened the children emotionally. Reading that broke my heart. Because he loved them deeply. But he saw what they were becoming. The final settlement upheld nearly all Richard's wishes. Legally, I won. Emotionally, nobody wins these situations. Today, none of Richard's children speak to me. Not birthdays. Not holidays. Nothing. 31 years erased by inheritance resentment. Sometimes people ask if I regret staying with Richard through illness, knowing how things ended. Never. Love is not measured by how people treat you afterward. It's measured by what existed while the person was alive. And despite everything, Richard loved me deeply. I know that. Today I live quietly, travel occasionally, volunteer at hospice centers, and every time I sit beside someone dying alone, I remember something important. Money reveals unresolved emotions already hiding inside families. It rarely creates them from nothing. Before Richard passed away, he whispered something I'll never forget. "Thank you for loving me when I had nothing left to offer except myself." That mattered more than every dollar combined. Have you ever watched inheritance destroy relationships after someone died? Tell me in the comments below. And if this story touched you, please like and subscribe. Because sometimes grief doesn't just expose pain, it exposes character.